The woman blew gently and divided a single silk thread into 128 strands. This silk blowing technique could only be mastered by top embroiderers. It turned out she was the only disciple of the embroidery master, and her unique skill, the washing needle, had already surpassed her teacher. The embroidery made with this technique looked vivid and lifelike. When she noticed her master's sleeve had been torn, she immediately stitched a tiny panda onto it. The master smiled, then told her that her parents had called about something important. The girl hurried off to return the call, not knowing that at that very moment, the president arrived at the door with lavish gifts. He explained that he had founded a luxury brand called Embroidery World and had come personally to invite the embroidery master out of retirement. But the master declined, saying she was too old. The president's eyes then fell on a double-sided embroidery nearby, and he instantly offered $500 million to buy it. The master shook her head and replied that she was not interested in money, explaining instead that the work had been made by her disciple. The president then noticed the panda embroidered on her sleeve and froze. The image brought back a childhood memory. When he had been injured as a boy, a little girl had handed him a handkerchief embroidered with the exact same panda. The master confirmed that this, too, had been made by her disciple. At once, the president realized that the girl he had been searching for all these years might very well be the master's apprentice. He begged to meet her, and the master told him to go upstairs. Before he could, however, his father called, urging him to return home and fulfill the marriage arrangement that had been set since childhood. At the same time, the woman also received a call from her mother, telling her to come home for her wedding. Only then did they realize the woman and the president were each other's arranged partners. The next day, they met. The president wasted no time in making his feelings clear. He already had someone he loved, and marrying her was merely a matter of convenience. The woman snapped back without hesitation, then tossed aside the $1 million check his assistant offered, treating it like garbage. Later, determined to compete in the fine embroidery contest, the woman went to Embroidery World for an interview, where she once again ran into the president. He assumed she had come deliberately to get close to him, but she laughed at him instead, asking if he was applying for the job of security guard. Their argument was overheard by a scheming woman who had long harbored feelings for the president. Convinced that the newcomer was trying to seduce him, she burned with jealousy and deliberately tried to humiliate her, only to be stunned by the woman's flawless embroidery skills. Just then, a rival unexpectedly came to challenge them. The losing side had to give up their spot in the fine embroidery competition. Even more outrageous, the rival deliberately carried over a humiliating plaque to give them, and the president appeared at the venue. The scheming woman stepped up to represent the brand. Their challenger chose to embroider a double-sided, two-color lily, a task that took 6 grueling hours. When the works were finally revealed, the scheming woman's piece was judged inferior, while the challenger's embroidery impressed everyone so much that someone immediately offered $1 million for it. Swollen with arrogance, the man mocked the people of Embroidery World, telling them to hurry up and hang the plaque of shame. Just then, the woman stepped forward. She declared that while he had spent 6 hours on his double-sided embroidery, she only needed 3. He scoffed at her arrogance, but she did not argue. Instead, she calmly sat before the embroidery frame and began her work. 3 hours later, she pulled away the red cloth covering her creation. The entire hall fell silent in shock. Even the judges were so stunned by her masterpiece that they momentarily forgot to announce their verdict.